Broncos win. Broncos win. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Special Christmas edition with Kev alongside. We will not be defeated in 2026. We will not be defeated in 2026. Let's effing go. Off and running. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to all. But to all, a good night. Not so fast, because we're just getting it revved up. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle. The best barbecue in all of Northern California is Pig and a Pickle. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera, and they are soon to be in Petaluma in 2026. Thanks to Damon and Mary for sponsoring the best 49er YouTube channel there is, The Krug Show. We're back with you on Christmas night. The rain is falling. The prime rib came out perfect. Absolutely perfect.
It did. It
was a fantastic prime rib. But we come to you after a triple header of NFL football. We got Cowboys 30-23 over the Commanders. Then the Lions season ended. They lost to Minnesota 23-10, and then the Broncos beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead 20-13. Green Bay is officially into the playoffs. Detroit is officially out of the playoffs. Cowboys win on the road. Broncos win on the road. And the Lions, kind of remind me a little bit of the Niners from a year ago. Just the injuries started mounting, and they just started mounting. Today they lost Alex Anzalone. I believe they lost Penei Sewell for, I don't know, we'll see, but it looked like a torn ACL. If that's the case, that means the Lions may have lost Penei Sewell for all of next year, potentially. We'll see. It's hard to speculate on that kind of stuff because there's different rehab patterns and timelines and all that, but we are literally just 3 days away from what I think is the game of the year for the 49ers, the Niners at Levi's against the Bears. And we're going to talk all about it. But welcome to the Krug Show. Merry Christmas, Kev. Great to see you. Good to see everybody in the chat. And we're off and running. And as I said off the rip, I think this is the best 49er YouTube channel there is. Now, Grant got me going on this, and I know Grant does incredible stuff, and he is the king of this universe without a doubt. But I will say that, I feel like what we produce, the fact that I've coached football, played football, scouted football, I think I'm bringing a perspective that the other guys just don't bring. And no offense to Grant. Grant's great. He's helped me tons, and I love him like a brother, and I'm loyal to him to the end. And he's just a monster in this thing for sure. And I thank him every time I see him for just getting me down this road. But when you really factor in, and I don't do a lot of this. Oh, I'm the best. They're not as good. I don't do that. I just don't do that. But I have coached football. I have played football. I have scouted pro football in multiple leagues. And I think I'm bringing that to the table. So I definitely appreciate all the people and all the support. It's amazing what our channel has been able to grow to this year, thanks to the guy over here, this guy over here. But I just want to say before we get rolling,
you're right.
Talking football.
You went this way. Is there someone standing next to you? No,
this guy over here. But I just want to say thanks to all you guys, because we wouldn't be here without the audience. We wouldn't be here without the without the support of so many of you guys. And what we've built this thing into in 3 or 4 years is amazing. What we're going to do in the next year is going to be even more amazing. I just want to say thank you to everybody. Merry Christmas.
It's been a great year. I've been with the channel for pretty much the beginning of the channel, obviously, but seeing the growth every year is awesome. Seeing the new fans, seeing the old fans, seeing the people that say, "Oh, I've been here since day one," but even seeing the new people come in every week, hearing stories of even the little brothers getting walking into class and seeing the Krug show on someone's phone and saying, "Hey, that's
Dude,
my dad's show."
we should tell
That's
that
crazy.
story. My 16-year-old goes to public high school here in Walnut Creek, and he tells me he walked into class the other day, and there was kids watching the Krug show at Northgate High School. He's like, "That's my dad, man. That's my dad's channel." Like,
Yeah, no,
nuh-uh.
it's crazy to see the growth. Obviously, I'm behind the scenes, so not everyone sees me as much, but I'm there for every stream. I see all the stuff. I see all the comments. I read all the comments, so I do see everyone, even though I'm not as prevalent. But it's been a great year, and it's shout out to everyone who watches. And if you watch in silence and never comment, still thank you for all the support. It's awesome. But I want to say this about today's games, because today's games it was interesting. It's funny because it's like this slate of games. If you looked at the slate of games in the beginning of the season, like if you look at these matchups at the beginning of the season, you would have been like, "Oh man, Christmas is gonna be special. Christmas is gonna be a special showdown of these three games," because these three games are like the matchups of the teams where it all went wrong. You know what I mean? Like. I mean, not for the Broncos, but like KC, like everything went wrong. Detroit, Minnesota, like both those teams you thought had a shot, they're both eliminated. And then the first game, Commanders, Cowboys, you would assume Daniel's coming off an AFC championship or NFC championship run. They'd be back in the playoffs for sure. That's not the case. So the games today they were all huge spreads, and some of them, two of the dogs covered in this one. But what did you think of the games?
Well, okay, yeah, it is interesting. It just kind of shows that, that you really can't make these schedules much in advance. And I kind of wonder if we're headed towards a thing with the money going up on what the ABC, what the networks, what the Amazons and the streaming services, what they're paying for rights fees is going so high that, you know what? I don't know that I kind of feel like what we see tonight is going to be a thing of the past, where I think they're going to make this, they're going to create these schedules with greater flexibility, so they have all kinds of ability to move games around and put better games in there. I mean, Broncos, Chiefs, Cowboys, Commanders, Lions, Vikings, it all looked good at the beginning of the year, but the Commanders, I would say, are the team that really took a backslide, and they lose again today. And I got to think Dan Quinn's probably shit canned at the end of the year. They're 4-12. They backed up last year, and they thought they were going on a Super Bowl run, and instead they've been flushed down the toilet. They're 4-12. So I think that was a dramatic loss to and maybe the end of the Quinn era, even though it just began there in Washington. But I just got to feel like Washington's got to make a change. That was my first thought. My second thought is something that I've been saying for a couple of years, that Dan Campbell is the most overrated head coach in football. That Detroit's success wasn't about Dan Campbell. And if anybody thought it was about Dan Campbell, you don't know shit. It was about the GM, and it was about Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson's now in Chicago. And the GM, Brad Holmes, came from LA. It came from the Rams. He's the story. Brad Holmes is the story. Ben Johnson's the story. Dan Campbell's not the story. Dan Campbell is a special teams coach, basically masquerading as an NFL head coach. And guess what? They're never going to win. They didn't win a couple years ago because of Dan Campbell. And this year they had tons of injuries. And they've got all these great players, but once you lose Penei Sewell and Brian Branch and all these guys go down, then suddenly it's like, whoa, it really hurts to lose the superstar player. And then it puts it on the coach. Can the coach elevate the team without the superstar players? And you see what's going on in Detroit. They can't elevate. They're bad.
What you're seeing is
run the ball.
Dan Campbell's a Sirianni type. He's an energy man. He's a great story. He's a culture guy. He's a glue in the locker room. But when like you said, when the talent leaves the building and the players that aren't on the field, Dan Campbell, the big Dan Campbell with his glasses looking at a play sheet, that's not going to win you the game. Like he's not that kind of coach. Like Shanahan can overcome, like the play callers, the Andy Reids, they can overcome the lack of talent at times when they can play call and scheme things, Dan Campbell's not that guy. He's just not that guy for you. And that's the problem. And the Lions are a very talented football team that's just down on some luck right now. I saw this tweet, and I wanted to bring it up to you because I know you're a huge draft guy. And I think it's interesting. People are claiming that the Lions draft classes are what's to blame. This guy tweeted out, got a bunch of engagement. This is how Super Bowl windows close. And he posts a picture of the two Dallas Cowboys the two Lions last draft classes. I don't know how great of a point this is, but Terrion Arnold, Ennis Rakestraw, I actually like those two guys. I think those are two good DBs.
Another guy who's hurt.
Yeah, Terrion Arnold is always hurt, but he's a really good player from Bama. And Sione Vaki's the local kid. Makai Wingo, Christian Mahogany. I know you were a big fan of him coming out of Boston College, but yeah, I mean, they didn't really hit that big. And then this year they went Tyleek Williams, who I actually was a big fan of, Tate Rutledge, Isaac Tesla, who I think is pretty good. Took him the 3rd round. I thought he was going in the 5th. And they didn't really have much else to show from their draft classes. So this is kind of what people are saying on Twitter world.
Well, okay, but the same guy that you're banging on the year prior took Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch in succession. He went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 in the first round, 2 in the second round. The year before that, they took Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams, Josh Pascal, Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez, Chase Lucas in the 7th round. Then they took Penei Sewell in the first round in 2021. That's worked out pretty good. Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round of 2021. So, I mean, that, anybody can look at one draft class and be like, and it's people picking people. So it's it's inexact for sure. It's I'm not saying that nobody hits 1,000% in the draft, but my point is just that if you walk down the street in any NFL city and say, who's the head coach of the Detroit Lions? Dan Campbell. Okay. But then if you said, who's the GM of the Detroit Lions? How many people are gonna know that one? Nobody knows. He's totally behind the scenes, and yet he's really the reason. The reason for the Lions is not motivation or scheme. It's talent. Brian Branch is one of the best defensive backs in pro football. Sam Laporta is one of the best tight ends in pro football. Jack Campbell is one of the best inside linebackers in pro football. Jahmyr Gibbs is one of the best two-way running backs in all of pro football. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see how this goes? And then if you go back even before that, Aiden Hutchinson might be the best at his position. Amon-Ra is one of the best at his position. Penei Sewell is one of the best at his position. So Brad Holmes is the story, and he's still there. So we'll see if Brad Holmes can get it done. But I just think Dan Campbell, hugely overrated. Everybody thinks Dan Campbell's amazing. The other thing I wanted to say from that Lions game, maybe the most underrated football player in the league is on the Vikings, and that's Blake Cashman. Dude, Blake Cashman is badass. He was great with Houston, and then he came over to Minnesota. He's been great in Minnesota. He had 17 tackles tonight, 6 solo. He had a sack. He had a TFL. He had a hit on the quarterback. Blake freaking Cashman is one of the most underrated players, I think, in pro football. In the last 6 games he's played, 17 tackles, 16 tackles, 11, 10, 9, 6, 16, 15, 11, 14, 11. I'm going way back. The guy has had basically double-digit tackles every single game, and he's got a 16-tackle game, a 17-tackle. He's got 2 16-tackle games, a 17-tackle game, and a 15-tackle game. This guy's got 4 games with 15 or more tackles. He also has a sack. He's got a forced fumble. This guy's really good. If you say, hey man, great defensive players in the NFL, name them, go. How many people are going to say, yeah, Blake Cashman, Vikings? No, never coming up. Nobody's ever saying that.
That Vikings Lions game was just a Brian Flores masterclass. Brian Flores is he didn't work out for him as a head coach, but he is one hell of a defensive coordinator. Like the blitz packages, the stunts, the just the movement and the unpredictability of his rush attack is just crazy. It's crazy. I mean, I don't know, in a game where, I don't know if you saw this stat, but in a game where Max Brosner is the first quarterback in the Super Bowl era to finish the game with under 70 passing yards and took 7 sacks, and they still won the game. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to ever do that. The Vikings win. Like, though, how do the Vikings win in a game where they had under 70 passing yards from the quarterback and took 7 sacks?
Seriously,
Crazy.
people, I mean, I bet the Lions today and lost, but here's the moral of the story. You can't be -6 in turnovers in the NFL and win a game. You just can't. Just can't. If you're -3, you're going to lose. If you're -4, you're going to lose. You're -6, you're really going to lose.
Well, it's like Jared Goff. We go through cycles with Jared Goff where it's like Jared Goff is one of the best pocket passers in the NFL, and he should be praised for it when the Lions score 46 points. But it's like in games like this, you see the downside of Goff. Like, yes, Goff is very good at reading coverages, throwing a good medium range ball. But when he's under pressure, he folds and he can't move. And like that becomes twice as apparent than when he's, in a rhythm and not facing as much pressure. Like that's all it is with Jared Goff. It's like if he has a clean pocket, he's going to be fine, and he's going to dice you, especially with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, in the tight end they have. But when he's under pressure, it's just not the same.
The +6 turnover margin, by the way, best in the NFL this season, tied with 5 other teams for the best in any game in the league in the past 9 years. 9 years. So, I mean, I seriously, I bet the Lions today basically because I'm like, Brosmer stinks. And then Brosmer comes out and stunk, and still the Vikings beat the Lions 23-10. So big win there for the Vikings. I actually think this is the league's most underrated and overrated coach. I think Kevin O'Connell is to me, he's one of the most underrated coaches in pro football. The Vikings have nothing, and they've won 4 in a row to finish the year. They didn't quit. It's been a really frustrating year. They took the wrong quarterback in McCarthy. Then they got rid of the wrong quarterback and went with McCarthy. And now you got Brosmer. He doesn't look very good. He had, as you said, 51 total passing yards today. And still, they've won 4 in a row. If I told you the Lions, and so you got Campbell, who's massively overrated, and you've got Kevin O'Connell, who's massively underrated, they're both 8-8. Both those teams are 8-8.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. And before the game, the Lions were over a touchdown favorite, and these teams have the same record. That's where we're at right now. Yeah, I mean, if I was a Vikings fan, I would be thoroughly disappointed with the franchise right now. I mean, you got rid of Sam Darnold. Obviously, you guys had a great season last year. In the playoffs, Sam Darnold implodes. But JJ McCarthy, is he the answer? I don't like.
No,
I'm not the guy. I don't really like to hate on people. I don't like to hate on quarterbacks. Everyone has a long time to get better. I mean, hell, Sam Darnold is that guy. He's that guy that sucked. But JJ McCarthy coming out of Michigan, was never a huge fan of his NFL. The way he looked for the NFL. Never a big fan of him as a passer. I mean, obviously he's pretty athletic, but now he's just dealing with injuries. He can't get on the field. And you're going to Max Brosmer. I mean, it's a tire fire over there right now.
Also in the Cowboy game, I mean, it's like if you're a Cowboy fan, now the Cowboys are like, hey, man, we finished strong and, watch out for us next year. I don't know, man. They can't stop the run. It's like they couldn't stop the run. So it's like, oh, you know what? We got to get Kenny Clark we got to get our interior guy in the Micah Parsons trade. Okay. So they trade Micah Parsons, go get Kenny Clark, then quickly turned around and took one of those first-round picks and threw it to the Jets for Quinnen Williams. So now you got Kenny Clark and Quinnen Williams inside. And still Washington ran for 8.6 yards per carry. Krosky Merritt ran for 9.5 yards per carry. Dallas has not been able to stop the run for like a decade, it seems like. I mean, they just can't stop the run. And if you can't stop the run in the NFL at all, I mean, it's almost like it doesn't really matter what else you do well. It doesn't matter if you got great pass rushers. It doesn't matter if you've got corners that can take the ball away. It doesn't matter if you got a great kicker. None of it matters if you're going to give up 8.6 yards per carry. And that's what happened. Josh Johnson. They have Josh Johnson, who, I mean, his agent's a friend of mine, probably not anymore because I've been telling the truth about his client. Josh Johnson's a nice guy, but he's not very good. And
well, no one expects him to
Josh Johnson is your quarterback.
Yeah.
So you're not expecting, him to beat you down the field at all. And he didn't. He threw for under 200 yards, no touchdowns. You allow Krosky Merritt and the Commanders to run for 8.6 a carry. Now Dallas got the win, but I mean that's Dallas's biggest problem. Dallas is never going anywhere. They're not winning anything. If they can't stop the run, they haven't been able to stop the run at all. Why do the Niners own the Cowboys? Because they just, every time they get together, they just run right through them. They just absolutely dominate them in the run game.
Well, the Cowboys don't have any linebackers. Like they don't have any linebackers that are really worth a damn. I mean, I'm going through the list. I mean, Logan Wilson, Shamar James plays some snaps there. Kenneth Murray has been pretty terrible. I mean, it's just like I do think Quinton Williams is a great player, but he can't do it by himself. And they have some younger players. They drafted Donovan Ezra-Raku, who's a pretty good pass rusher.
He's been good.
He's been pretty
out of
solid.
Boston College, yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have Dante Fowler on the team. Yeah, I mean, Kenny Clark hasn't really been the run stuffer that they wanted in that trade. So there's a lot of holes on that defense for sure that they need to fix. But it's like offensively, yeah, it looks great. It looks great. You have two really good receivers. You have Pickens in a passing offense outside of Pittsburgh where they can't pass the ball. They can't figure out how to pass the ball over there. So Pickens looks great. You have CeeDee Lamb, who's obviously a star. And Javonte Williams turned into something this year. So their offense, they look pretty good. They look pretty good offensively. And in this game, they were aggressive. I don't know if you watched look at the stat. No, not watched, but if you saw the stats, they went for it on fourth down 6 times and they got it 6 times. So, I mean, Schottenheimer came out and was like, we're playing this game. Like, I don't know. They're playing.
We're going for it.
We're going for it. We're playing loose. So, I mean, that's how they came out in this game. It was good to see Deebo Samuel get a couple touches in this game. But yeah, Josh Johnson, it's like flashbacks to the Eagles in the NFC Championship game when Josh Johnson came in. It's like he's just a guy that knows how to play quarterback and has been around and probably can pick up a playbook pretty fast. But it is crazy how he keeps playing because it's like he comes into every locker room as the third quarterback and yet somehow always gets playing time. Like what's going on?
And then we have the night game, which goes to Denver 20-13, and Kansas City's going to have a good pick, man. They're going to have a high pick. They're 6-10. They're 5-4 at home. Chris Oladikin, who's a really athletic kid, but he's a very raw prospect, 13 of 22 for 66 yards.
Yikes.
And 1 touchdown. But, I mean, here's what I noticed. Kansas City can't run. They can't run the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, Kareem Hunt, 7 carries for 38 yards. That's a good 5-4 carry, but overall 82 yards rushing for Kansas City on a day where their quarterback couldn't do anything, and you have no Mahomes. Excuse me. You got to be able to run the ball, and they can't run it. Pacheco is not the Pacheco of old. Kareem Hunt is old. Kansas City's got some big decisions in front of them. I mean, defensively, Nick Bolton showed up today. He had 12 tackles. Chris Jones showed up. He had 1 sack and he had 4 hits on the quarterback. The Chiefs only had, as a defense, 1 sack and 6 hits on the quarterback. So basically, Chris Jones did some things and everybody else did nothing. Bolton had 12 tackles. Jones did some stuff, and everybody else was just along for the ride. So, like, what do you do if you're Kansas City? There's really 2 questions out of this game. How legitimate is Denver as a Super Bowl team? And then what do you do if you're Kansas City? You have no Mahomes probably for next year. If he comes back at all, it's probably late in the year. You've got old Chris Jones, old Travis Kelce, great continuity in your coaching staff. Might be the best coaching staff there is, but they're all really old, probably at the end. Andy Reid is 70 plus, and Spags and Taub, these guys have been doing it forever. By the time, what do you do? Do you draft your quarterback of the future? People have suggested the unthinkable, trading Mahomes.
No.
You can't trade Mahomes, but Especially right now, he's not going to play for a year. Who's going to trade for a guy who's not going to play for a year?
They're not going to trade Mahomes.
They're not going to trade Mahomes, but I mean, all the nuclear options, Brett Veach better consider all of them, because how are you going to do this? Are the Chiefs are they going to punt on next year? I mean, what do you do? What do you do when Mahomes is 30, right? Isn't he 30, 28, 30? He's got a lot of time left, but he's also probably not going to play next year. And then you've got these expectations to win the Super Bowl every year. Your coaching staff's older, so it's not like they're going to be like, now we're going to tear it to the studs and build from the bottom, but it might make sense. Trading Chris Jones might make sense.
They would be a great candidate for Mac Jones. They would be a great candidate for Mac Jones.
Yeah, they would. But I mean, do they really trading day 2 picks for
Here are the unrestricted free agent quarterbacks in 2026: Daniel Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Marcus Mariota, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy G, Trubisky. Trubisky actually used to play there, I think. Right? No, he didn't. He's in Buffalo.
No, he's in Buffalo.
Chicago, Carson Wentz used to play there, right? Carson Wentz was a backup there, so he's
Who do you like out of that group? I kind of like Zach Wilson. I think Zach Wilson could still find himself.
I mean,
name that list?
Yeah,
again.
I mean, Pickett has some success a little bit. Like he's played a little bit.
Pickett sucks, dude. Are you really serious? Dude, Pickett.
Well, I mean, look at the list, bro.
Dude,
look at the list, dude.
Ass. Kenny Pickett is absolutely
garbage. You can't say that.
Dude, he's terrible.
Zach Wilson, dude.
With his glove. No, Zach Wilson's got talent at least. And Kenny Pickett. I mean, all right, read me that list. There's a couple names on that list.
There's not a lot of great options. I mean, unless you're a believer in Rodgers. I mean, you could go Rodgers.
No. Let's go down the list again.
Russell Wilson, no. Marcus Mariota, maybe.
Yes, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor can't play a whole season. Joe Flacco's really old.
No.
Then you have Pickett, and then it kind of drops off.
I mean, Joe Flacco would make sense for them. He would for 1 year, because you got to have somebody
42. It's gonna be 49.
Well, I mean, you're not going to go somebody young, are you? You're gonna go young reclamation type quarterback, or do you want somebody just
he's 41. He's 41. So.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you want to go a young guy? Or do you want somebody
that's what I'm saying. He's even going to play. He's 41 years old. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I think he can play still. I mean, heck, if Rivers can play, Flacco can play. So give me that list again. Flacco, no. I mean, that would be an interesting name probably, but he's older.
Okay, so it was Marcus Mariota, Russell,
I like that
Zach Wilson, Tyrod Taylor, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Jimmy G, Mitch Trubisky, Case Keenum, Trey Lance, Carson Wentz. Trey Lance, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's a slim pickings list. Yeah, maybe the Niners are going to get a pretty good price for Mac Jones.
Yeah, I mean,
Mac Jones is better than those guys.
The Colts don't have Daniel Jones next year. He tore his ACL as well. So, I mean, there's teams.
Colts definitely. Ballard and Lynch have hooked up on trades before. Yeah, that one makes sense.
No, but I mean, it's true. Like the Chiefs are kind of falling apart here. It's not pretty. I think that, at a time in the beginning of the Mahomes era, they were just absolutely stacked and so fast on offense. They were just so fast. They had so many gadget guys. I mean, Tyreek Hill was leading that bunch, but they had so many guys. That was back in 2019. Ever since then, it feels like they've gone less and less and less on giving weapons to Mahomes. And at some point, it just kind of all falls apart. I don't think Nagy's the greatest coordinator. And
he may leave too. He's probably going to be up
rid
for.
Of him. They lost Bieniemy, and the offense really hasn't been the same. But I mean, it just feels like
Nagy could go to Tennessee, because Borgonzi's got a history in Kansas City. Borgonzi's probably going to hire. I would imagine that for sure, Matt Nagy's going to be interviewed for Tennessee.
In the last 2 years, the 2 receivers they added, I think one of them is probably the worst pick that I think this was just a terrible pick. And he's not even necessarily a bad player, but they drafted Xavier Worthy in the first round. I think that's
because Mahomes wanted them to.
Yeah, well, I think that was a terrible pick. I don't think.
I agree.
I never liked Worthy. I don't like buying into someone's draft stock based on, one single characteristic. Like, yes, Tyreek Hill is fast, but that doesn't mean everyone who has the same 40 time is the same kind of fast. Xavier Worthy's okay receiver. He's fine. He's pretty good, but he was never a first round talent. I mean, yes, he was so fast, but what? Like first round?
He's fragile. You can't run across the middle. He's only a sideline guy. Yeah, I mean, that's why you don't listen. This is the Niners' biggest issue too. Stop listening to your coaching staff. Seriously, there's a reason those guys coach. And by the way, all the scouts who have looked at the college players, their season is over. They've already looked at all the college games. None of the Niners assistant coaches have looked at probably any of the draft prospects for the upcoming draft. Why? Because they're coaching the Niners. That's why they haven't. So if you want your coaching staff to kind of, get caught up in February and, have an opinion, okay, that's one thing. But listen to your freaking scouts. I mean, would you put your credence into somebody who saw, the game from the 2-minute warning till the end? No, that's the equivalent of coaches. Coaches don't watch players. Coaches coach NFL players. They don't watch college players. I know more about college prospects right now than Shanahan does. Of course, he's not watching them. I am watching them. There's a big difference. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not watching it, then, I mean,
I remember
there are times where I've asked Shanahan about pickups that they've had to the practice squad late in the year, and I'll get the kind of the verb, the word from the PR staff. Oh, you know what? Kyle probably is not going to have known much about these guys. And it's like, they don't want me to ask that question because they also know that it doesn't sound good if Kyle doesn't know the players that they're picking up. So they're just kind of whispering, hey, you know what? Kyle doesn't, it's like, of course he doesn't, because he's coaching the team. He probably doesn't even have time to attend the workouts.
I remember last year when Texas was playing Arizona on one of the big bowl games. I forget which game that was, the Peach Bowl or whatever it was, Orange Bowl. And obviously Shanahan went to Texas, University of Texas, and some reporter asked him, "Oh, did you watch?" Because it was, I forget, maybe it was that Saturday. And they had a game, obviously, and he said, "Oh, you're watching Longhorns today?" And he's like, walked in the cafeteria, looked at it for 15 seconds, then walked back into another team meeting. So it's like these guys, they don't have time to watch any college football games. Like,
they're not watching it.
There's barely any free time that Kyle Shanahan has. He's going home with his family. You know what I mean? Like, he's not watching football. He's probably trying to get away from football at that point,
Right. I mean, he's not watching it. So now, I'm not saying by the time the draft rolls around. By the time the draft rolls around, maybe Shanahan has seen it, and maybe some of the coaches have seen it. But lean on your scouts, because your scouts have, they've probably watched these guys 5 times, 6 times. They have a much greater knowledge. And look at the Niners. The Niners have taken, it seems like every year they take a running back high that the coaching staff liked, who's a bust, and then they take a running back late who the scouts typically probably like, who's better than the running back they took early. I mean, it's happened like 4 different times in like 8 years or something. I mean, it's happened a lot. So, I mean, if you want to have your coaching staff, have some working knowledge of the players, that's one thing, but stop putting them in their evaluations over the evaluations of your scouts. If you're doing that, you're screwing it up.
This is because we were talking about the Chiefs. This is the Chiefs draft class for the last 3 years. To my point about them not giving Mahomes enough talent around him, again, like, I'm not a Mahomes truther. I'm not saying, oh yeah, Mahomes best quarterback of all time, therefore this is all their fault. But just from a team's, strategy standpoint, the last 2 years you add Jalen Royals, who hasn't done anything this year. Brashard Smith, who's been good. I actually really like Brashard Smith. He's been good this year. It was a good pickup. Xavier Worthy, bust for a first-round pick. Jared Wiley doesn't really play at all. I mean, that's all the offensive guys that can touch the ball that you gave to Mahomes over the last 2 years. So basically nothing. Basically absolutely nothing. A lot of defensive
Rashard
picks.
Smith in a running back draft. I mean, just the same way I'm banging on the Niners for taking Jordan James and he can't play dead. And you got Kyle Monange going to the Bears in the 7th round. The same thing for Brashard Smith. I mean, I like Brashard Smith. He's got a lot of athleticism. He's very, very fast. They took him kind of high, and he hasn't done squat. So, I mean, it's just, you're running. You can't run the ball. You've got Pacheco who's banged up. You got Kareem Hunt who's old. And yet, what about the running backs that, what about getting a big time running back in this last draft when it was chock full of good running backs? No, they missed. So, I think Brett Veach is one of the better GMs going, but my sources around Kansas City tell me that the Chief fans are really pissed and it's now or never for Veach. He's got to have a big draft.
Well, yeah, and it's like NFL fans are like, it's like a raccoon. Once you give them a taste of what they like, they're going to keep coming back for more and more. And at this point, the Chiefs are in, Super Bowl or bust mode with Mahomes at quarterback. So it's like this was a disaster year for them. It's just everything fell apart. They weren't the same. Every week, every single sports, sports person's like, oh, this is the week the Chiefs bounce back. Like, yeah, they're 5-4, but against this team that's 8-2 or whatever it was, it's like they should be even odds. And it's like, nope, they just aren't very good this year. That's just a fact. Their offense isn't very good, and they're kind of falling apart.
Let's look ahead to the game of the year, because I think that it really is the game of the year. It's the Niners and the Bears coming up at Levi's on Sunday Night Football, and the Niners are taking on the Bears for the second straight year. Last year, the Niners got a 38-13 victory at Levi's over the Bears, and man, they would take that for sure. Now, let's talk a little bit about Chicago. Caleb Williams in this game against the Niners last year threw for 134 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's now in his second NFL season, and he enters this game in Week 17 with 3,400 passing yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks, and those numbers sound pretty good. Chicago's run game is really good and ranks second in the NFL. When you look at Caleb's completion percentage, though, it's like 58%. It's like one of the worst in pro football. Shanahan was asked about Caleb today, and listen to what he said. He said, I think anytime you give a quarterback a top run game, they all look better. So I think that helps him huge. So that's basically Shanahan's way of saying he doesn't think Caleb's very good. I mean, Shanahan made it clear the Niners are not overlooking Williams or his ability to extend plays or create explosive opportunities. He went on to say Caleb is one of the best throwers, one of the most athletic quarterbacks I've ever seen in terms of his height, weight, and speed. He makes some big-time throws, extremely scary on the perimeter, can hold on to the ball for a while, not in a bad way, but by creating stuff which makes coverages have to hold up forever. And when you have a talented guy like that who's got the speed and the size, usually they get a run game, get some bootlegs and play actions off of it. You limit how many times you've got to drop back. It makes sense why he's playing at such a high level. So there you go. What is your thought on Caleb Williams? I didn't like Caleb Williams in the draft. I don't like him much better now. I just thought he was incredibly overrated. I thought he was surrounded by some really good players at SC. I'm not really a Caleb Williams fan. I think he's marginal. But he's got a good offensive line, especially in the interior, and they're running the heck out of it right now. And he can extend some plays and make some plays. But if you if you can get a lead on the Bears, I just think that it puts a lot of pressure on him. I think the Bears, the one thing that has to be mentioned with the Bears is that they lead the NFL in turnovers. And yep. they take the ball away. The Bears have 21 interceptions. To put that in perspective, the 49ers have 6. Bears have 21.
Well, yeah, and their turnover differential, meaning how many more turnovers they get than their opponent, they're plus 21, which is first in the NFL. The Niners are minus 4, which is 20th. Right. So that's a huge difference. But your question on Caleb,
what do you think?
Caleb, I don't want to. I have plenty of takes where I'm wrong. but I feel like one of my best takes has always been Caleb Williams. I think he's a good quarterback. Pretty solid quarterback, but coming out of college, I tweeted multiple times. I was on the records always saying, I do not get the generational title that we gave him, because the title that he came out of college was, this guy is Patrick Mahomes, maybe better. It's like that was the type of praise he was getting coming out of college. And I watched enough of his college games to know that guy was not Patrick Mahomes, but he is still he's extremely talented. He's a talented throw over the football for sure. Very talented guy. He needs to get a little bit better, clean up some of his mistakes, but Caleb Williams at this point in his career, he can beat you, and he can beat this 49ers team. He's good enough quarterback with a good enough team around him where this Niners team should not take him lightly. And I'm not saying they would for any reason, but yeah, this Bears team is very solid. I think this Bears team is very comparable to the Niners in a lot of ways. Like, there's just they are of the same caliber, I think. I think the Niners definitely have a better chance to win. I think they have a slightly better chance to win this game, and I think they will win, but it's not going to be easy. The Niners and the Bears are scoring relatively the exact same amount of points per game. It's 25.8 for the Bears, 26.1 for the Niners. It's about exactly the same. I think that the Niners defense really needs to step up in this game. It's going to be a pass rush game. The pass rush is going to matter. Last week, it didn't matter too much because Phillip Rivers couldn't move. Caleb Williams is going to be able to move, and he's going to make you pay for bad pass rush. So that's the thing I'm circling in this game. It's going to be the pass rush.
That's the other question is, the 49ers are coming off a game, and the Niners haven't stopped the run defensively all year. But in this game, they got Tatum Bethune back, and they shut down Jonathan Taylor, and they shut him down the entire game. So are they going to be able to do the same thing to Monangi and Swift? I mean, Taylor's a better runner, but I think the Bears line is probably a little bit better. Dahlman's at center. They've got pretty good interior players at both guard spots. They've redone their offensive line. And if you look at it, they're second. They got the number 2 rush offense in pro football. They average 152 rushing yards per game. So 49ers run defense is 8th best in the league, really? Which is actually, that's even a little surprising. That's even a little higher than I thought.
It must have jumped up a lot from because they shut down Taylor.
Yeah, but the Niners are giving up 102.9 rushing yards per game. But yeah, I mean, you look at the Bears, I mean, defensively, on one hand, it's like, you look at the Bears and you think Chicago, certain teams like 49ers, maybe it's because of Joe and Steve, but you think quarterbacks and you think passing, and when you think Bears, you think defense. Chicago Bears, the 85 Bears were the greatest defense in the history of football. That defense, you should have seen that year, Kev. I know this is before your time, but 85 Bears, just think of the greatest defensive team of all time, and then think of them with a scheme advantage and a personnel advantage and the best front line of all time. That it was offenses went backwards against the Bears. I mean, backwards. But this Bears defense, you think, oh, Bears, monsters of the Midway. They're 24th in yards as far as yards allowed, 348 yards allowed. They're 19th in points allowed. They're 27th against the run, 18th against the pass. But while this is going on, as you said, they're the best takeaway team in football. They're plus 21 in turnover differential, number 1 in football. They have 21 interceptions, number 1 in football. So think about that for a second. This is how the Niners are going to win the game. If the 49ers just can take care of the ball and not throw picks, not turn it over in this game, the Bears are going to have a hard time scoring with this Brock Purdy offense. The Bears need those extra possessions to score the points they score. The Bears are 10th in the league offensively in points per game. They score 25.8 a game. Just a little bit under what the Niners are. Niners are at 26.1 a game. But the Niners never sack the quarterback, are 27th in interceptions, and are 20th in turnover differential, where the Bears are been aided by being number 1 in interceptions and number 1 in turnover differential. My point is just simply that I don't think the Bears defense is any good at all. And I think the 49ers are going to be able to run it and throw it on them. And I think the 49ers are going to put up 30 some odd points. And I don't think the Bears, unless they get turnovers, I don't think they can keep up on the scoreboard. I don't think the Bears need defensive scores. The Bears need turnovers. If they don't get those two things, the 49ers are going to win this game. I'll say 31-17.
Yeah, I mean, I think this it's pretty obvious, but this Bears team is basically a replica of the Lions. Like that's how Ben Johnson builds his teams. That's the way he likes them. And there's going to be a lot of guys touching the ball, but they're efficient and they run the ball down your throat with two running backs, and that's how they roll. I mean, Swift and Monangai both averaging over 4.7 yards per carry on the season. That's very impressive. Caleb Williams has 369 rushing yards of his own. Swift is about to break the 1,000 rushing yard mark. And then they have 6 guys over 300 yards receiving: Zacchaeus, Komet, Burden, Loveland, Adunze, and DJ Moore. So they have guys, man. They have guys on offense. And I agree with what you're saying. Yeah, they have plenty of weapons to throw to. So that's gonna, that's why it's gonna stress the defense at every point. Like where they're gonna find a mismatch. One of the things I felt like the Colts did in the last game is that they saw something with the matchups that Josh Downs was giving the Niners defense, specifically in the slot. They targeted Stout a couple times, and then one time I think it was Gifford who lined up against Downs, and it was like an immediate hot read throw to Downs, and he was wide open. So watch for that slot. Ben Johnson's gonna scheme something up, and they're gonna find a weak point in this defense, and they're gonna expose it. And the Niners do have weak points in this defense. They're young. They're not the vaunted defense they once were. So it's gonna be very interesting. I think the one thing about this season specifically that you have to feel good about if you're a 49ers fan is that this team is well coached. You have an all-time defensive coach in Robert Saleh, or a head coach, an all-time coach, but a coach that deserves to be a head coach in Robert Saleh on the defense. And you have one of the greatest offensive minds in Kyle Shanahan. So this team always comes to play, and that's the one advantage I'd say they have against the Bears.
Let's share the screen and play you Ben Johnson's cut. Ben Johnson, this is Coach Yak's Twitter. He put this out. This is Ben Johnson from the presser talking about Kyle Shanahan.
And the Niners last night obviously looked pretty impressive, especially on offense. What jumped out to you watching the game?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're playing high-level football, and last few weeks, it's 5-game winning streak, and I think they're averaging over 30 points a game during that span. 48 last night. They haven't punted the ball in a bit, and so I think Shanahan is one of the best, if not the best, in the business in terms of doing this, calling plays at a high level for as long as he has. He's probably the first to truly marry that run game and the pass game, as well as you see some of these other teams doing it now. He was kind of the front runner on all that stuff, and so you always like to turn on that San Francisco tape each week, whether you're playing them or not, just to look at some of the stuff that they're doing. And it's changed a little bit. It used to be where they were always the number one team in the NFL in terms of rushing. And it's not to say that they don't still have that ability. They do, but it's kind of morphed a little bit, and they might be a more dangerous passing team right now. And so that's kind of the interesting thing when you watch their tape. Purdy's playing at a high level. Kittle's a problem for us. McCaffrey is a major problem. It's just kind of unorthodox a little bit that you got the tight end and the running back as the guys that concern you the most. And yet, Purdy does a great job finding the receivers as well. So we got a tall task ahead of us. I know our guys are looking forward to the challenge. A lot of stuff going on this week with distractions potentially and things of that nature. But I think it'll be a good thing for us to go on the road and just really be able to focus in on this game.
There you go. A little bit of Ben Johnson referencing the Shanahan run-pass fusion, which Greg Cosell always used to talk about as Kyle's greatest strength, that he can marry the run game look a lot like the pass game looks, and it's a hard thing because he really does freeze linebackers and freeze conflict defenders because he makes the play action game, he ties it so intricately and so succinctly so completely to the rush attack that it gives the 49ers, puts a lot of pressure on defenses and makes them kind of pause and hesitate. And sometimes that hesitation is all Shanahan is looking for. I thought it was interesting at the end there where Ben Johnson says, hey, basically he thinks it's an advantage to be on the road. And I kind of agree. I do think that this is the time of year where it's hard to do everything. I mean, the one thing you're never going to do as a football player, you're never going to tell your coaching staff no. So your football, workload is heavy. And guess who you're also not going to tell no? Your 4-year-old. You're gonna make sure you celebrate Christmas and all that stuff. And we saw it a couple of years ago when the Niners had the Ravens on Christmas. And the 49ers are trying to have a regular Christmas morning with their families and then, go off like they're working for, FedEx or something to work. And the Ravens are staying at a hotel away from their families. And who was razor sharp that night? It was the Ravens. And who didn't look razor sharp? The Niners. And look at yesterday, or look at today, I should say, and look at Christmas. And it's just difficult. It's difficult to, it's difficult to play on the road. It's just difficult to, it's difficult to play on the road normally, but it's hard to play at home when you're balancing Christmas. Cowboys won on the road. Broncos won on the road. So I don't know. I kind of think that he's right when he says that, maybe it might be a little bit of an advantage this week to, get out of town and get away from your family and holiday obligations and all that and just focus on the task at hand. So we shall see Sunday night, national TV, game of the year. How do you see the matchup, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said, I think it's going to be a close one. I think that this Bears team is a very good team. I think that it's going to be one of those things where if you're betting the spread, I would just stay away. I think this is going to be a very, very close game. I'll give it to the Niners because they've been rolling and they're at home. And I think that if this game was played in Chicago, I think the Niners would lose this game if they played it in Chicago. I think the Bears have an advantage there playing in the cold. And just with their home fans, I think that the home effect will matter for the Niners, and they'll win this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. I actually do. I think it'll be. I don't know what the total is, but I think the total over is the play here if you're a bettor. But I think
what's the weather forecast?
30-20, like? A 30-25 game. That's a good question. Probably not too bad. Like Santa Clara.
By the way, Ricky Pearsall practiced today for the second straight day. He was limited. I got to think Pearsall's going to go. Come on. He's got to go. He's got to play in this game. They need him badly. They got this, it's all hands on deck. It's going to
be 55 and sunny.
Okay. No, it's a night game.
Well, that's
so it will not be 55 and sunny.
But it's not going to be
it'll be 50. It's going to be 50 and dry. Kittle did not practice today. Pearsall did practice today. How concerned are you?
I'll say that right
Kittle?
now. I'll say this right now. I mean, Kittle, that's one thing I forgot to even mention. If Kittle's not playing, their chances, I think, go down significantly. I think the Purdy to Kittle connection is the most important connection for the offense right now. I think Kittle being in this game, it might be the X factor in them winning or losing. I hope he plays. They need him to play. I mean, you heard Ben Johnson literally say it in the video. He said, when he mentioned Kittle, he poses a lot of problems for us. Like you're hearing the offensive or you're hearing the coach of the team saying that George Kittle from Brock Purdy is the biggest problem they may face defensively. So if Kittle's a no-go, it's not good.
This just in, Kittle's meaningful. Let's share the screen. Brock Purdy last year gave his linemen Toyotas. This year, he gave them engraved Rolexes. Here's Matt Hennessy's, I should say. Brad Hennessy played for the Giants. It says Bang Bang 61, which is Hennessy. And this is Bang Bang 13, obviously, is Purdy. What would you rather have? A Toyota truck with the lease paid or a Rolex engraved directly to you? I mean, one's a little bit more personal for sure. The other's more functional. For Rolex is probably go about.
I'd probably go Rolex.
$3,000, $3,500.
Call me crazy, but I'd probably go Rolex because the Rolex is for life, man. A Rolex is for life. Also, if you think about it, like that Rolex is probably like $8,000. How much is the lease? It's close, but it's probably a little bit more. But I'd go Rolex.
Chat saying Rolex for sure.
I mean, that's pretty
People-
sick too. I mean, it's like that. As soon
I
as
like a
as soon as you
Toyota
get
truck.
it,
I wouldn't mind a Toyota
as
truck.
soon as you get it, it's priceless. Like Brock Purdy just gave you a Rolex that says "bang bang" and your number on it. Like that's priceless. That car that you're leasing is going to be toast in 5 years.
George Kittle gave me some shoes that have KMBR on the tongue. Does that count? What are those worth? If I get George
Those
to
are
sign those
collectors,
shoes,
bro.
if I get George to sign the shoes, are those going to be valuable someday? Anyway, I always think it's kind of interesting. These gifts. Yeah, I think Mahomes got his guys like golf carts a couple of years ago. Someone says the Rolex will be worth $50K in 20 years.
Purdy, I mean, he doesn't care. He makes tons of money now, but it's like he set himself up at a high standard when he was a rook, or not a rook, but second year in the league, giving out trucks. Because how are you going to back that up? You can't just you can't go
He
from
gave
that.
trucks to the fans. He gave them to the fans.
Well, yeah, that was this year.
Yeah, that was pretty cool though.
You can't go from trucks to like t-shirts,
We got this one. It says Sunstrip KMBR. Doesn't that stand for Kruger Nightly Broadcast Radio? That is awesome. I gotta throw that to Mike.
Can you imagine if that's like what we named the channel instead? We just named it KNBR Kruger Broadcast Nightly Radio.
Oh my God. That would be unbelievable. Yes, I changed my channel is called KNBR. It stands for Kruger Nightly Broadcast Radio. Oh my God.
There'd be like a lawsuit show up at the doorstep.
Oh, dude. Cease and desist. Cease and desist.
Trademark violation.
Trademark. That's it. Something tells me I probably wouldn't be doing Niners Nightly on KNBR if I had taken that approach. What's your prediction on the Bears game? Because I think the Niners are going to win it, and I think they're going to win it by about 10.
Wow.
I like this.
That's a pretty bold take.
It is, because I don't believe that the Bears are what people think. I think the Bears. I don't think the Bears need to be +2 to score 35 with the Niners. I don't think they're going to. I mean, unless you believe that Swift and Monangi are going to be able to gash the Niners up and down the field where Jonathan Taylor could not.
I think it's different. I think that Phillip Rivers played a part in Jonathan Taylor's lack of rush. I think the Niners knew that there was just certain routes that weren't going to be possible for Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers is still Phillip Rivers, but he's still a 46-year-old man at quarterback. So I think that's a little bit different. Also, Jonathan Taylor over the season has diminished a little bit in his production. These two guys at running back are still top of their game. I still think they're going to be able to run on the Niners pretty well. I think it's going to be close, man. I think it's going to be really close. I do give the edge to the Niners here, but I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be like 35-31 or something like that.
You're looking for a shootout. You think it's going to be a shootout?
I mean, not necessarily. I guess that would be a shootout, but not just like oh, deep bomb, scoring. Like it's going to be like long drives, no stops, and touchdowns. You know what I mean? Field goals.
Let's hit some supers. We should probably tell everybody that we're brought to you by Sleeper. This entire 49er football season on the Krug Show is brought to you by our good friends at Sleeper. Thanks.
Should we do a sleeper lineup?
Yeah, let's do a sleeper lineup. And we should tell people, though, the 49er football season is presented by Sleeper on the Krug Show, fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy. Use promo code Larry. Sleeper will match your first deposit up to $100. Links in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. And we should let's do our lineup. Let's go Niners-Bears here. What are you thinking?
All right, let me pull it up. NFL.
See what we're looking at.
Let's go over the Niners. All right. You go first. We'll go. Let's go
Brock Purdy.
We'll go drafting. Purdy. You're gonna choose Purdy.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Purdy. How do I not go with over 1.5 passing touchdowns? He just had 5.
Yeah, he's hit that the last 2 games.
I like that. And I'm also going to go, I hate to say it, with over the half interception.
Mm.
I just think he throws a pick. This team's got 21 interceptions. We got to give them credit for doing what they do, and that's what they do. And so I'll go with Brock Purdy to go throw for a couple touchdowns, but also to throw a pick. All right, go ahead. Who do you like? Who are you going to go with?
I'm gonna go with DeAndre Swift over on the rush yards. Like I said, I like the running backs in this game. I'm just debating in my head. I mean, yeah, DeAndre Swift's hit it in the last 4 games. He's hit it 6 of the last 7 times. He's gone for over 54. I'll hit that.
Okay. Give me what other people do we have? Can we choose from?
Go Juwan. Juwan's been pretty hot.
Yeah, give me JJ. Let me see what JJ's got. I'll go anytime touchdown for JJ.
He scored a touchdown in the last 4 games.
Yeah, let's go anytime touchdown for JJ. That's pretty
6
solid.
in the last 7. Wow.
How about Eddie Pinheiro? Oh, go ahead. It's your turn.
Let's go. Let me look at Caleb. What do we like here from Caleb? I don't know. Do you like the rush yards for Caleb or no? Pass yards. These are pretty spot on.
I like pass. Well, wow.
Let me go away from that. Look at McCaffrey. Look at McCaffrey.
Okay.
McCaffrey's gone under his 38.5 rushing receiving total in the last 3 games. Is this a game where they run the ball more, pass the ball more to him? I think it's possible. I'm going to go over on the receiving yards.
Yeah, I like the receiving yards. Let me see the Pearsall profile. Let's check.
He just doesn't anytime touchdown.
Yeah, let's go with less.
Less on that?
Yeah, he hasn't scored a touchdown all year. So I'm going to go with no touchdown.
Should we look at our lineup?
Yeah, let's take a look. Wow. So McCaffrey's got to have 39 receiving yards. Purdy's got to have at least 2 touchdown passes. Jennings got to have a touchdown. Purdy's got to have a pick. Pearsall's got to not have a touchdown. And Swift's got to have 55 yards. And if all those things happen.
Should we throw 10 on it?
Yeah, let's throw 10 on it. Just mix it up a little bit. And
10 to win 69.
Ooh, I like that. 69-30. Awesome. And thanks to all of you guys. And we should tell you, anyone who trails this community pick slip gets a chance to win $100 to use on Sleeper. Just send a screenshot of your slip with these picks to hmasleeperpicks@gmail.com and include your Sleeper username in the email to enter. We're running this every week in the month of December, so don't miss out. And thanks to Sleeper for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. All right, let's finish with some supers. We haven't gotten any of our supers here, but we got 10, and we're brought to you by our super portion of the show is brought to you by our good friends at Habbas Law. They will fight to make it right. 1-800-INJURED. Visit them on the web, habbaslaw.com. If you've been injured and you want to win, there's only one call to make, and that's 1-800-INJURED. Visit habbaslaw.com. I love Omar Habbas and Tarek Habbas and the Habbas Law team. They do a great job, and they go up against the big insurance companies, and they beat them, and that's why you ought to hire these guys. If you want to win, if you've been injured and you need to win, there's only one call to make. 1-800-INJURED, habbaslaw.com on the web. Absolutely. My dad, my deceased father was an attorney. My brother is a judge and an attorney. My sister's an attorney. Believe me, I know the value of having a good attorney, and the Habbas Law team are fantastic attorneys. So thanks to Habbas for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Let's hit some supers. Clarence Beeks in the house. He said gifted won the Krug Show membership. All right. I like that. Clarence Beeks. Kev, do you know the Clarence Beeks reference?
I do not.
Clarence Beeks was the jerk in Trading Places with Eddie Murphy, an old movie. He was the villainous character in Trading Places. Clarence Beeks. It's a great name. Middleman Snacks, prime rib, baby. First time I've ever made prime rib was tonight, and we pulled it off at about 128 on the degrees, and it came out.
It was good.
Perfect. Nice prime rib. Clarence Beeks says, Merry Christmas, Cherry. Oh, come on now. You hate us because you ain't us. Go Cats, get them Cats, go get them Cats. Laser Lax 20. Merry Christmas. Thank you, sir or ma'am. Mark Gravy Graves in the house out in the desert. What's up, Graves? Merry Christmas, brother. He says, Merry Christmas, Larry and Kevin. Best channel going. Thank you, Mark. Mark's been with us, Kev, probably since the beginning.
The OGs of OGs.
Yeah, Mark is one of the original OGs for sure. He's been with me for a long, long time. We saw him in spring training. We're going back to spring training, by the way. Mark, we're going to be there in March. I'm going to be there for sure. Hopefully, Kev can join me. Niner 86 is LK. Please wish a Merry Christmas to my twin, Brett D, in Austin, Texas. Larry, your YouTube channel is the GOAT. Thanks. Merry Christmas to your twin, Brett D, in Austin. Kev actually lived in Austin for a summer. You loved it, huh? It was hot, but you loved it. You're muted.
Austin was awesome.
Okay.
Super sick. Tex-Mex. The weather was just outrageous. It was outrageous to say the least. Had to get out of there. But 6th Street, super sick. Would love to go back there. Would live there, potentially. Not in the summer.
Ben Affleck, double chin. Hey, Lair, you checking out the Buccaneers doc on Prime? I haven't checked that out. I would like to check that out. I like sports docs. Maybe I will. Bill Kennedy, who pays taxes on the car leases? Poor people. Yeah, exactly. There you go. We got this one from Michael. He says, Bears struggled against Malik Willis's mobility last week. Yeah, Brock Purdy ain't no Malik Willis. I'll tell you that right now. Though I did thought Malik played pretty well in that game. Christopher Hengler. I think the 49ers will win out. Happy holidays, fam. I like that, Chris. I like that. Win out. I think they are going to win out as well. The ACOP 707. Missed you at the meetup, Kev. Hopefully we see you next year. I'm living up in Seattle, and these Hawk fans are getting arrogant. Let's win these next two. Oh, yeah. You know what you say to them, the ACOP? Say, hey, 12's this. You guys suck at home. You're better on the road. It really is true. All right, that's going to do it for us. We're in and out in roughly an hour. Kev, I'll give you the final word. Good Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. You know, we got up. We did the deal at my brother's last night. We got up this morning. Kev got me a really cool little. What did you get me, Kev? What's it called?
It's a camera. It's a.
You muted yourself.
Fuck, I keep muting myself. I like to get a little Krug Show gift. One of the Krug Show gifts.
Upgrades.
Little upgrades for the Krug Show on Christmas. And it's like a little second Christmas gift to you. One year was the Krug Show Light that's right behind you. That's actually probably one of the best gifts I've ever given you. That thing is
awesome.
Money. Awesome. Shout out Jesse Naylor. He put me onto that because I saw his light and I was like, we need
Merry
to go
Christmas to Jesse. And Jesse's got a similar light like this.
Yeah. So shout out Jesse for that one. This year, just when thinking about how we can upgrade some camera quality, and we got a new camera. So you will be seeing it. I think one of the videos earlier today was shot in it, and it's not as apparent yet, but it's a good camera, up in the quality. 2026, here we come.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Tomorrow, I'm going to cover the Niners. I'm going to go down to Santa Clara. We'll have fresh Niner stuff from Santa Clara, so look for that tomorrow. But for Kev, I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks to all of you. Merry Christmas. Hope you guys all had a great Christmas. Hope you all have all your dreams come true in 2026. We are taking this channel to the fucking moon. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon'